title of being Oprah Winfrey's best friend. She's also the editor-at-large at O Magazine. She hosted her own TV show, and we are happy to call her a good friend of ours, too. So please welcome Gayle King. So good to see you. You know, Gayle, that's a wonderful interview, and it's a very frank interview, and we learned a lot about the both of you. One of the things that we've been talking about, because you're very honest about it, you said, listen, you know, Oprah's got all the money. How did you handle it so there was no resentment? And
well, you know, I never thought that, because from the time we've been friends...
30 years.
Yeah, 30 years. I was a production assistant. She was a newsroom anchor. And in newsroom hierarchy, your pay scale is still here and here. But that is, I think what bonded us is that we were both young, we were both single, we were both, you know, young black women dating at the time, you know, trying to find our way. But I always felt like a peer to her. And I think as long, to me, to be a good friend, you have to feel like a peer regardless of what they make, what they do, who they are. And I think as long as you feel like a peer, and I always have, it has never been an issue. Now, certainly... you know, when we travel, I wouldn't be going to France and I wouldn't be going to Italy and the places that we go. I couldn't have afforded to do that way back in the day. So I think you have to, everybody knows Oprah's very generous to strangers, so you can imagine. She's very, very generous to me. Very,
When she takes you on a trip, you can always say, she needs me for company.
Yeah, I can say that. But I love you guys talking. Back for Hot Topics, I was like, gosh, I have so much to say about all the different topics. But you were talking about treating, and I said, yes, we went to Dairy Queen, and I said, don't, I'll handle that. I did that. I did that. But I don't feel that. You know, I don't feel...
We read a lot about the gifts, though.
Yeah.
What was it? Didn't she give you a gift for your children once? That was quite
that was the most timely thing. My kids are 11 months apart. You know, I certainly didn't plan to have children that...
Now they're grown.
Now they're grown. They're 19 and 20. But at the time, you know, to have another little baby joy is very overwhelming. And she said, I got the perfect gift. And I said to my husband at the time, I know what she's going to do. She's going to give us a double stroller. And it turned, which, you know, double strollers are very expensive.
Yeah.
She gave us, you'll appreciate this, Elizabeth, she gave us a nanny that we could have for as long as, so she paid the nanny salary, she set us up with the nanny, she allowed us to make, you know, revisions on our home so we could have a nanny bedroom. I thought that was a pretty big gift.
That's a gift.
It does.
Allow you to live and enjoy your kids.
An actual human being.
That's right.
It's so great that
Can't beat it.
That you have the respect for each other. You didn't say, no, you know.
Oh, no, I'm not, no, I would never do that. You know, what's so interesting, though, when you have a friend who has so much money, and listen, people say, God, it must be so hard for you. No, it ain't hard. but I do find, though, when I was going through difficult times when we were going to get our first house and you had to save, and right before the closing, I thought, gosh, Bill, I don't know if we're going to have enough money. But I wouldn't mention that to her because I don't want her to think I'm giving a ploy for, God, can you help us? So I wouldn't tell her if I was having money problems. I would not do that. And to this day, you know, I would never, ever ask her for money. The only thing I've ever asked Oprah is for the clothes that she was going to give to charity. I mean, I still do that. What are you going to do with them shoes? You know, because she wears things a couple times.
You wear the same size shoes.
Yes, we do. Size 10. I'm proud to tell you that.
I wanted to ask you something that Oprah brought up, and she said, we are not gay. And you know, this has come up again.
Silly.
And she said, it's people, I don't know, that people are not used to friendships like us. I mean, how do you feel about the fact that she has to say it?
No, I told her the other day, I said, you wouldn't believe how many calls I'm getting about this whole gay thing. If the writer, Lisa Kogan, interviewed us both, she's a great writer at the magazine, great sense of humor. If she hadn't even asked us about it, we would have never even commented on it. But I think that people are so not used to, and I think women who have a close friend really understand this. Nobody who has a friendship like ours questions it. When you have a close girlfriend, we talk alike, we can finish each other's sentences, we're very like-minded. But the fact that people see us together out and about, it's a natural conclusion. I love what you said yesterday, Joy. Where's Stedman in all of this? Because I think it's so disrespectful. It sort of negates the relationship they have. You know, my social life is sort of, where's Waldo? But she clearly has a guy in her life. So it bothers her. What bothers Oprah more than people thinking that we're gay and we're not is that people would think she's a liar. And if we were gay, we would so tell you. She's told you every single thing in her life.
I think she would.
Because there's nothing wrong with it. We would tell you.
People question it because, like, I have a lot of girlfriends very close, and I'll go through periods where I talk to them 4 or 5 times a day, and then I don't. But you guys are consistent.
Oh, no, we still do.
Yeah.
We still
you
do.
never went through a period where you didn't just didn't pick up the phone for a few weeks?
Definitely. Well, honest, you guys
no, we never did. Never did. I mean, and we talk about everything and nothing.
How about a big fight? Most girlfriends have some kind of fight.
I really did try to think of something, you know, because people ask me that. I try to think, what did we argue about? We went on this road trip recently. This is very interesting, driving across country. She likes to drive with the radio off. Can you imagine driving cross country with the radio off?
Especially if Destiny's Child is on.
Especially if Destiny's Child is right.
Yeah. She wants to
I'm a survivor. Yeah. So you're driving cross country. She wants the radio off. I like the radio on. I like to sing. She goes, I like to be alone with my thoughts. Well, I have thoughts too, but I don't need to be alone when we're driving cross country. I want to hear music.
Something like that.
iPod.
So it was
iPod.
No, but
you can't drive with an iPod.
No, but you can. She doesn't want to hear anything.
You would have the
You're the one who wants to hear the music.
But when it's no fun.
It's lonely.
What are you going to do?
We're supposed to be driving across country singing, enjoying.
You got to work it out before your next trip because you guys are going back to Africa. So how are you going to work
you know
that
what
out?
we did? We did a thing that whoever was driving, then I got to listen to the radio. If she was driving,
That's fair.
Oh, but
That's fair.
Well, the person who's driving.
Tell us, though, about the trip that you guys are taking, because you're returning to Africa.
We're going back to Africa because, as you may have heard, Oprah's opening a school for girls there, which is going to open in January.
High school.
She says it's a high school. That's right, from 9th to 12th grade. She says when that school opens, it'll be the proudest moment of her life and the best thing she's ever done. And she's done some pretty cool things. But we're leaving very shortly to start interviewing the young girls. So we're looking for girls. We call it an it factor. You know, the it factor, you know it when you see it. You can't even write it on a piece of paper. It's somebody that has that sparkle, the sparkle that they have. They're growing up in these poverty-stricken situations. And Oprah said, it reminds me of myself when I was a kid. I want to find somebody that, despite all of that, they know that they can and will do and be better. We know that.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're looking for them. So
you want them to be motivated on themselves before you have to motivate.
I mean, education is huge in Africa. You know, we take it for granted here, but those kids are so excited just to have a school uniform to go to school. It's huge.
You know what?
It's huge.
We want you to come on with us again, but you sure got to come on after that happens.
Oh,
We would love to.
Don't act like you don't know me when I call and say, listen, I got some beautiful pictures to show you.
Participate. That sounds like so much fun.
No, Kelly, this is so. We were in South Africa a couple of years ago, and somebody came to me and said, you know, I just love your music. I go, you love my music? Will you please dance with my husband? I go, you want me to dance with your husband? Yes, he likes you so much. I go, who do you think I am? He goes, you're in Destiny's Child. He goes, you're Kelly, right?
You never know. You never know. You never know.
I was very flattered.
Gail,
thank you. Thank you so much.
You can see this as a relationship that's based on respect. We can understand why you love each other.
We do.
So, that really is such an interesting interview. And you may, you know, we all have friends. You may want to find out what makes a friendship work. It's in the August issue.
It's the August issue that's on your favorite newsstand right now.
Yeah. So when you happen to talk to Oprah 2 or 3 more times today, tell her we love her and that we were happy you were on with us.
I will tell her. Thank you.
We'll be right back.